Sign up today.
The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And I hope I'm on. Got no audio today back from the engineer. So I'm just hoping that we're going to move on here. Okay. So maybe they'll get it fixed here during the first segment, but I hear nothing back from the studio. As always, another excellent edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your host. And of course, it doesn't matter where you are in the world. You can be in Algeria, Iberia, Nigeria, or even Syria, but we always love to come to you at this time.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
And what do we have going on today? Well, I had not been looking for a lot of action in the markets, and we're off about a little more than 0.5% on the S&P cash. Not a lot of volume. Wasn't a lot of volume yesterday. Let's make sure this is right for today. Okay. Today, just make sure it's right. We're doing about 5.4 billion shares. So just a light volume retrace. The push higher came with about almost 10 billion shares. So there's still I'm not going to call it a minor bias to the upside. And I will also say that my theory says that a tie goes to the runner, and the market can go higher even if the volume just is the same. Generally, you want some kind of significantly lighter volume to give you a signal, and it hadn't been a big signal, but it hadn't been a bearish signal. And of course, been, as we talked yesterday, doing a lot of work on the bi-monthly options, or not bi-monthly short data, which came out Monday. The exchanges, the NASDAQ and the NYSE, published the audited short sell numbers every 2 weeks. Unfortunately, the data that came out yesterday on the 13th was actually for the end of the month on September 30th. So it is data that you're always looking in the rearview mirror on. I also talk about the FINRA data. That data is every day, says how many people actually started a position with short shares, shorting a position. Doesn't tell you how many of those people covered by the end of the day, but you can infer that if a stock has heavy shorting during the day, that it's probably carrying some fairly significant short shares overnight. And one of the things I've been working on for the last 2 years is a model, a machine learning model, to try to reconcile what we know happened 13 days ago with what happened today in the markets. So I have kind of a little bit better idea that I think than most people when it comes to how big the short positions are. One of the things I did put in the newsletter this morning was a big list of stocks that had huge short positions. Those are ones that I kind of start off on, looking for big moves coming into a Friday on expiration day. If they're shorting these things real big and you get into Friday morning and there isn't a whole lot going on, those tend to be the ones that I look at first. If you've got like 20 days to cover, a lot of people will talk about the percentages of shorts. To me, I'm looking for how big the entrances and exits are on stocks. If you don't have a lot of short shares when the stock goes down, there aren't that many people. People will naturally be buyers on the way down. if you are in a stock that has a lot of short shares, even if you're wrong, generally on the way down, those people will have to cover, and it'll slow it down enough that you can kind of get out. So I'm reticent to be long stocks that have no short shares. I'd like to at least to have a little base of somebody in there that's a little itchy is going to be on the opposite side of my trade if I'm long. And generally, if there's huge short selling, there's probably a reason why. But that reason is probably not going to change by the open on Friday and the close on Friday. Sometimes it does. But an excellent opportunity Thursday, Friday to be buying 10, 20 cent options that can go to $1 or $2. My model is that I try to buy those especially when the VIX is below 18, ideally 16. Sometimes, like now when the VIX is in the 20s or something, you kind of look at it, but you have to wait just a little bit longer. But this is when the option premium basically decays to almost nothing. They try to keep the stocks from moving much. And of course, we talk about delta neutral, which happens basically the 8th trading day before expiration. That's when they sell as much stuff on the opposite side or buy enough stuff on the opposite side of their option position that the aggregate will not change. That's delta neutral, i.e. the change is nothing. Doesn't happen exactly. And every single day, the computers whiz away at the background, tuning that delta neutral position. But they've basically found out that the risk past 8 days before expiration, is that right? Yeah. Or 7 days before expiration is not where they want to be. There's some big mathematical proofs that I've seen on the internet that were passed around. But options relatively new in the scheme of things for the stock market. In fact, until a decent algorithm came out from Black and Scholes, options really didn't sell that much before about 1990, 1992. There was a company that I had business with, not in the financial part of it, but it was called Silicon Graphics. They were making pretty fast-paced real-time systems that you could buy and put on your desktop with Unix in them. And they worked very good for option pricing throughout the day. People started to scalp them. The volume started to get up. And more importantly, there was some kind of unified theory about how options should be actually priced. And of course, my big move into options pretty much happened, I'm going to say 2003-ish, after I read, what's the name of the book? Fooled by Randomness by Nassim Taleb. He had some very interesting theories. And if you read the book, basically he'll tell everybody that you just can't make money. And it's very interesting. Well, if I had $3.5 billion in the market, probably his advice would be good, but I don't. And there are some loopholes in there, kind of like counting cards. We'll be back in a minute.
If you're not currently using the TAS Profile Scanner when looking at setting up your trading opportunities, then your arsenal is short a mighty weapon. The TAS Profile Scanner is a standalone piece of software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Headed by Steve Dahl, TAS understands that in today's technological world, the use of top-flight software applications and technical analysis expertise is essential to successful trading in today's market. You also gain access to the webinar that Steve Dahl and Tom O'Brien just hosted, The Best Way to Use the TAS Profile Scanner to Profit. This webinar archive is available for all subscribers immediately upon signing up. All new subscriptions also come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Start your subscription by visiting the front page of TFNN.com today, and you'll find the TAS Profile Scanner under the Services tab. Sign up today. Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
Many of our new listeners have heard about The Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive The Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on The Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
And we'll go to Rob in St. Pete. How you doing today, Rob? Are you there?
Yeah, can you hear me?
I can now.
Okay. Good afternoon, and I just had a question, see if you could, what you thought. I've got a small cap or micro cap stock that has a very high days to cover, and I wondered if you could look at it and tell me what you thought.
Odyssey Marine. The big problem that I have is I've done a lot of studies, and anything that really has an average of about 300,000 shares or below really does poorly in any of the things that I do. So generally, I tend to try to look for stocks that have at least 500,000 shares a day, and preferably 1 million shares a day.
Okay.
Other than that, technicals really don't do much. This thing's, if you want to look at it here, you spiked up to a bearish Gartley today at 771 and gave it all up. So if you're just talking mostly I look at price and volume movements. This is another way to look at it, but you were looking for a target of $7.94. It got to 771 and gave it all up. So is this a trade or something you're holding long term?
It's actually both. I've had it for a while, built a position, built some more, and just I've had it too long, but it seems to be finally on the upswing after being at $3 and $4 if you go back 3 or 4 years, 2 years, numbers like that.
Or even April at $4. So,
right.
Yeah, right. Now, these people are local Tampa outfit that were kind of famous for finding a lot of lost gold in ships and stuff. Now they're talking about finding nodules on the floor of all kinds of interesting minerals.
Right.
Which makes me think they're a CIA front, because the last time someone came up with this, that's exactly what it was. It was a front for the CIA to go and snatch a Russian submarine. So I'm not big. I don't know if we talked about it then. I'm not big on anything. There's a couple of, I remember that there's a couple of things that they won't do in Hollywood, and it happened when I was there. And that was, what was the name of that movie where they were all, the oceans had covered the entire earth and people just sailed around and stuff. I'll think of it in a minute. But I think it got, go ahead.
I said I don't know. I have no idea.
Waterworld. Anyway, the
Okay.
thing got wiped out 3 times by hurricanes and typhoons and everything. And a budget of $80 million went to $220 million. And they finally were able to make their money back and just break even. Same thing with Jaws. It was another one that almost ended up in huge tragedy. In fact, them not being able to film on the water meant that we didn't see the shark for at least an hour into the movie. And made it much better, by the way. But anytime you put water near anything, it becomes problematic. Your whole fleet gets wiped out. You know what I mean? Hurricanes come in and destroy your ports. It's kind of a, when it works great, it's all well and good until you get a, what was that thing down there by New Orleans? The
BP.
Yeah, the BP oil spill. Man, when you get with, all you got to do is own a boat for a while, you'll understand.
Right.
Anytime you get close to the water, it's problematic. So as long as, you don't have the inevitable thing happen while you're in the stock, you're fine. But I'm not a big fan of the idea that all these minerals are down here and it's a path to instant wealth. The bigger problem is not can you make money at it in the short term or in the short run, but what happens when the hurricane comes in and wipes out all your ships, your ports, everything else. Because it's kind of like riding motorcycles. There's an old saying, there's 2 kind of motorcycles riders, ones that have been down and ones that are going down. And every ship or anybody that has a bunch of ships is going to lose them at some point. It's kind of trying to put your thumb in Mother Nature's eye. So I'm not a big fan of a lot of people that think that you can just go out there and make huge amounts of money in the water. Now, maybe it's a huge CIA front, and they're going to make money for a while, getting green checks from the government in the secret. I'm just thinking maybe that was it's too much on the nose for the CIA to try the same thing twice. So maybe these guys do have something. It's just problematic. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You don't think the short interest, the days of short interest, the 35 days is much of a factor because the daily volume is low. I'm
just saying that playing it correctly is problematic. I'm not saying it's not a thing that the stock can't go to $20 in a day if someone decides to start running a operation on it. Are you familiar with the term of stock operators?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, we're manipulation and that sort of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem I have with Odyssey Marine. You had 110 days to cover midsummer. You had 109 million on, August 15th. 60 days to cover on the 14th of August. 40 days to cover on the 31st of August. On the 15th of September, you drop down to 15 days, and you're basically that yesterday with the days to cover. You're basically talking about 15 days to cover. That's still plenty, right?
Right.
And so you can still get a bounce. You weren't going to get the bounce you had at 103. And if I would have looked at that back late July, I would have probably said, you know what? I don't care what it costs. I'm getting in this thing. And it would have been a pretty good move, right? Just too many people on the wrong side of the stock. But again, the biggest problem is that you get a bunch of hooligans from what's the name of that thing? They just
Robinhood.
Yeah, Robinhood guys. You could it go to the top of the moon? Yes. Could the bottom fall out? It's the difference is between gambling and speculation, where you know something's going to go on, and I just don't. When you have thin stocks like this, huge short interest, I certainly wouldn't be short this thing, right? Because you can't take your head off. At the same point, I try to have stocks that I know that are predictable. Now, if you had the right option position on it, that may be different, where you could limit how much you could lose if you were short, and of course have basically virtually unlimited upside. Can you hang on a second? We'll talk about this when we come back.
Sure.
Okay.
If you're a trader in the market looking to find the path that leads to maximizing profits while decreasing risk, then now is a great time to try out Dave White's daily trading service, The Path of Least Resistance. Through the use of options and equity trades, Dave advises his subscribers on a daily basis of the current market conditions and what possible trade setups are on the horizon. The Path of Least Resistance is published every trading morning, often with updates intraday when initiating trades or closing out positions. Dave White has advised his clients of some outstanding winning options and equity trades in recent months, and now is a great time to try it out for yourself. New subscribers to the Path of Least Resistance receive a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the types of options and equity trades that are available by signing up for the Path of Least Resistance today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com and selecting the newsletter tab. Sign up today.
Hi folks, Tom O'Brien here. If you'd like to get my daily newsletter, Market Insights, then now is a great time to sign up for a 30-day free trial. Every morning by 9:30, I send out my morning letter to subscribers with market commentary on a variety of markets, currencies, and commodities to keep investors up to date on the day's trading action. Included in Market Insights are specific buy and sell recommendations for stocks, ETFs, and even options, with stops and price targets included for every trade in my newsletter. If you'd like to try my newsletter risk-free for 30 days, then head over to the front page of TFNN and you'll find Market Insights under Trading Newsletters. I use my years of trading experience to bisect and dissect the market every morning and give my subscribers the most important information they need to know for the day ahead. I even issue afternoon updates for my subscribers whenever warranted with important market action. I'm always scouring the market for the next great trading opportunity. Sign up for your 30-day free trial to my daily newsletter, Market Insights, today by visiting the front page of TFNN.com. Wow! Go get them, folks.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back with Rob. We're talking about kind of light volume traded stocks. Generally, what I would prefer to do is go after some options. There's only 85 options for $8. So times 100, so there's 8,500 shares. If you took every option there was, that's it. You'd have 8,500 shares. So not heavily traded options either, right?
Right.
So
Right.
let's say that the thing, you buy your options for whatever they are, 30, 40 cents now for $8, and it goes to $9 tomorrow. Well, no one's going to actually ever give you or be on the other side of that trade. No, there won't be a dollar there. They'll try to screw you over in the option market because there isn't much there. So you're going to have to exercise those and then sell them back in on the other side. You know what I'm talking about?
Right. Yeah. Exercise a stock and then sell it.
Right.
Sell
So
it
you
in the
got
market.
the premium is worthless, right? When it
Right.
hits $8, it's still worth zero because no one's going to give it to you on the other side in something so thinly traded. So you have to
Right.
plan on exercising the options because it'll be $9 and it'll try to give you 50 cents for an option that's worth $1.
Right.
And you can get into a long projected land battle in Asia. That would probably be shorter than the amount of time you spend in court trying to force them to give you the buck that they owe you, right? So
Right.
I'm just it probably cost just as many lives too. So I'm just not a big fan of that if you don't have the options on the other side of it. If you watched it, you start seeing the thing go sideways. You start seeing something. Well, it's not a bad chart out here for what you're talking about. The downside I have is today, where it popped hard but didn't really hold the high.
Right.
So you're for the most part you're kind of going sideways in this trading range up to about $7.31. You got to 771. I don't know. Were you watching it trade today?
Yes, a little bit. It doesn't trade very much volume usually.
I'm just
Today's
wondering if there was more than one.
A good
Was there-
volume day.
Yeah. Was there more than one share at $7.71? Were they just
Well, I didn't see it that closely. I just noticed
That's-
that it was lower earlier, went to 771, kind of shocked me, but I didn't see it there, and then it rolled back down a little bit.
Well, you can go to the NASDAQ and see the time and trades.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd be interested to see if there was more than one share up there at 771.
Yeah.
That's a good indication that they were just painting the tape, if that's true.
Right.
Right. So you can get a kind of an idea if there's an operator in there. If it went from 750 to 771 and you had 10 shares, that there's kind of an operator in there painting the tape. And
it wasn't for real.
yeah, well, yeah, it was for half a second, but 10 shares is not a real market, right?
Right.
So
right, exactly.
So those are some things you can kind of look at in these low volume stocks for signs of an operator getting in and around it. You still have a lot of short shares in it. What price are you in on it?
About $3.50 overall average.
What was your plan getting? What was your plan in getting out of it?
Well, my plan is that they, as you said, they've transitioned from shipwreck recovery to seabed minerals, and they have a large world-class phosphate deposit found off the coast of Mexico several years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to get that. It's completely operated. They just need the operating certificate, and it's probably $1 billion of revenue, 800 million maybe, per year if they can get that going. And they've already done the coring, and they've gotten 90% of the approvals and all that. And then the government of Mexico is kind of dragging their feet a little bit. So if there was any news on that, I think the stock would spike.
It would be interesting. And this is a company that's had an incredible history, especially if you know anything behind the scenes. This was one of the ones that you could make a movie out of. There was a former Secretary of State who screwed over Jews that made it through the Holocaust to screw them over in a deal to steal their art in connection with Spain to get cash back from one of the wrecks that they found. I mean, if you read about it, your head will explode. And of course, I won't say who's involved with it because everybody will get all upset. But few companies have been screwed over by people in the government as bad as this company. And
yeah,
I just wonder if the Mexicans aren't next in line to screw these folks over. So
that could be. So
that would be my only.
I sort of think I know who the Secretary of State was and who all that. I think I know that backstory, but I'm not sure. So.
Yeah, it'd take about an hour to go through, but it's better than any kind of mystery involving the Vatican Church that may or may not be anywhere close to the truth. This is the truth, and you go, I can't believe that people would actually do that to Holocaust survivors. But in politics, everything's, fair.
Yeah, I think the donor wanted his artwork back that had been stolen from him many, many years ago.
Yeah, and I mean it's like I said, I haven't read about it in a couple of years, but it was horrific at the time, and of course, kind of swept under the rug by the press. But what else can you say? But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, these kind of talks occasionally bring back things that I haven't thought of much. But again, those are my thoughts. I don't like stocks that don't have 500,000 shares. I've done enough studies and methods to find out that about that time, I start getting results that are more or less random and more indicative. But really, I like stocks with about 1 million shares or more on average over the last 30 days. So that's the problem. Don't put too much weight in technical analysis. Stocks like this are much more driven by the underlying fundamentals and massive short sell numbers like you were talking about. But I mean, it's kind of ridiculous to think that someone was in this stock and they had 109 days to cover on July 15th. 110 days worth of short sales to get them out, and all it did was bounce $3. I mean, this is there were a couple of stocks last year that are set up kind of like this. I'm trying to remember the one. It's another one that deals with the water. I'll think of it during the break. Thanks for the call.
Okay, thanks, Tim.
You bet. We'll be back shortly.
Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den. The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of the TFNN shows, plus see all of the charts as they happen live and have access to archives of all of those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days and greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets and how to make your money work for you. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com.
TFNN has launched our brand new website. You can still visit us at the same TFNN.com URL, but when you do, you'll see a new and improved homepage with a much simpler navigation, whether you're watching Tiger TV live in high definition or just accessing your newsletter subscriptions. We even have new pricing in 6 months and yearly options. Check out the new TFNN.com now and experience all the upgrades. TFNN.com, educating investors.
If you haven't checked out the newsletters page of TFNN.com, what are you waiting for? All of the TFNN newsletters are informative, up-to-date, affordable, and a must-have for every trader looking to gain a competitive informational edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets to offer you the very latest in market news. Plus, new subscribers get to test drive our newsletters risk-free for 30 days. From all aspects of the markets, including stocks, bonds, metals, commodities, and tech, there's a newsletter to fit your needs exclusively from TFNN. Stay informed each day you trade and get that competitive edge that will help you stay ahead of the game. Visit our newsletters page by going to TFNN.com and click the newsletters button near the top of the page. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV for the latest market information.
And maybe it's longer than I thought it was ago, but man, I can't remember the stock. I want to say it began with a W, but it was a shipper stock, and I'd been playing it, thought it was going to go, looked at it for 3 months and saw them getting ready to manipulate the price of it. And all I can remember is it went from $4 to $95. Maybe somebody in the den can remember it. I want to say it began with a W. Maybe it's not around anymore. Been around for a while, but I think like in 1 week it went from $4 or $5 to $92, back down to $8. And I thought it was Diana Shipping, but that's not it. It was one of the other ones out there. Yeah, it was Dries. Thank you. I don't know why it's not on my list here. But yeah, it was I don't know why it's acting weird here. Let's do this. There's something in it. The volume's all messed up. Anyway, it was Dry Ships. Are they just not around anymore? DRYS. Did they go? Oh, it's private. At least it says it is. I'll have to look for it later on. But it was set up very much like that OMEX. So you just have to watch those things, low volume and huge short interest. I'm just surprised that they didn't do it when it had 109 days to cover, but you never know. Got more emails coming in, so we'll try to get those. NVIDIA, Nibble. NVIDIA, of course, came out early in the week, said that they will not be able to satisfy demand even in this year. And they said it will probably be first quarter before they're actually making as many video cards as they can get. Not a bad move out here. It's just kind of tired. I don't see a lot of reasons to go trying to buy this to see it bust through the 589 high. But still, I wouldn't want to be short it either. But my guess is it kind of goes sideways for a while. Again, I don't short anybody that has basically a monopoly in their business. Okay. Anyway, now the risk reward, what I'd look for is maybe buying options on it for Friday, maybe calls in the morning or something, and see whether or not it starts moving. Again, a lot of people short this name too. It's always on the most hated list. Let's take a quick look and see what NVDA, for some unknown reason, it's been worse, but still 18% today. Only half a day to cover though, so there's probably better ones out there. But yeah, the risk reward here. So you make $5 on it. Do you really care? And there's not a great pattern in here for a squeeze. And there's there's enough shorts out here. Will it probably go back up to 589.07? That September 2nd high? Probably, but I don't know if there's that much to be said for it. Again, it's like trying to short Apple. Company with a good business, maybe they don't sell as many as you want, but I don't think that you're anywhere in the part where you're actually looking at a company that's going to have a drought from people not buying stuff next year. May not be as good as you want, but they still got $300 billion, and they can buy their shares back, and no one can say a word about it. What do you think? Let's take a look at RH. This is Restoration Hardware, now known as RH. I don't know why they did that. They do weird things. Short sell numbers are certainly lower. The last big day out here, 20%, was the 5th of October. On the bi-monthly from the exchanges, they've got about 5.5, 6 days to cover. So not bad. You're still looking for a spike. You got a little bit of it today. You certainly got no volume. You went up there with 5 million shares on September 10th. For me, I'd still want some kind of overwhelming signal. It's still 25% short. So could you get something there? Yeah, I just don't, even if there aren't a lot of days to cover, I'm not a big fan of going short something with 25% short interest unless you get a huge spike. If you get $30 on this and no volume and all the shorts give up, that's it. You're probably there. My guess is this thing will probably pop like $25. If it doesn't have any volume, it's going to give it all back and go back to 330. So I like the setup. I just think the timing is wrong at the moment. But eventually this thing's probably going to implode. But we shall see. Okay, yeah, generally on these stocks that are up here, even with light volume, you'll still see a move. And I first saw it in a housing stock, I want to say 2001 or 2002. And I'm trying to remember the name of it. I think it was either Lennar. It may have been Lennar. This is back when they were on the NYSE. And the thing did like 2 or 3 million shares a day back then. And I just remember opening up at $70. And through 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it had 150,000 shares on the day. By the close, it was back down to $70, but it went from 70 to 80 on 150,000 shares, and then right back down to 70, and there were 1.5 million shares before the end of the day. So, you got to watch a lot of times for those last-minute spikes, and what you see is problematic. If there's no volume in there, they squeezed the last of the shorts out. That's really where you love to put positions on. And generally, you don't have that much time. You'll see a spike kind of like you had today. So I'm not saying it's bad. I like the fact that you only have about 10% of the volume up here. And the only problem I have is that still looking at that 25% short position in the last reporting period. At some point, it's okay. But you like to see, generally what I like to see is over maybe a year ago that the short position was 50%. At the height, the short position in Restoration Hardware was about 40. Generally, when I see it fall to maybe 20, it's 25 now, that's when you start seeing the real big moves off the top. Even if you get a highly shorted stock, if you go back and look at Tesla when it fell and the bi-monthlies, it was like 45% short, came down to about 18% short. And that's when it fell apart, went down to 188, finally made a low, and it's done nothing but go higher since. But generally the huge smackdown, which I think we got in one of the newsletters. I think we were short, got 100 and some odd points in it. But we'll be back in a minute.
Back in the day, I joined Hotel California in 2006, and like many of you, was drawn in by, as well as,
whatever you think about, you bring about. Whatever you focus on grows.
You see, I believe that everything in life happens for us, not to us. And Tom ignited the fire within me to want to learn how to master the markets. So how did I go from knowing nothing about technical analysis to becoming the #1 market timer for the S&P 500 in 2018 and the #2 market timer in 2019? Simply put, I hired coaches with a proven track record, which led me to a whole new set of tools that I created to interpret the message of buyers and sellers. I would love the opportunity to teach you this award-winning set of tools and help you improve your market timing. You can test drive my newsletter service, Mastering Probabilities, for the next 30 days with no risk to you. Plus, you'll gain access to archive workshops that'll take you step by step through my system. Sign up today by going to the homepage of TFNN.com and selecting Mastering Probability in the newsletter tab.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today. With markets trading with extreme volatility and peaks and troughs everywhere, regardless of what you're looking at in the markets, this is a great time to see the type of analysis Basil Chapman delivers for his subscribers every market day with the Opening Call newsletter. Basil has been analyzing markets, providing his take for subscribers to his trading services since 1984. Every morning, Basil publishes an update for his subscribers, along with weekend and evening updates when warranted. The Opening Call provides traders a daily market overview with regard to the direction of the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, along with specific recommendations, including stops and targets. You also gain instant access to Basil's subscriber webinar archive from earlier this year, a dark cloud cover, and essential market analysis. Ride the Chapman wave today by signing up for the Opening Call newsletter on the front page of TFNN.com under the newsletter tab. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to risk. Sign up today.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
I had a question here about, did I delete it? I may have deleted it. Let's see here. Maybe I've still got it. Okay. There it is. Chris, BIB. The thing I just like about the biotechs right now is they're all making some really big Gartley patterns, bearish Gartley patterns. You got kind of a little bit of a dark cloud cover on the last couple of days, too, on the BIB. The IBB, I think, is doing the same. And over the last couple of days, there were a lot of other biotechs that are kind of doing the same kind of look out here. Now on the IBB, you had a 4.7 million share July 20th high, 146.46. And again, yesterday, 1.8 million shares. Today, 1.5. It's not the end of the world. The IBB has a lot more shares in it than some of the other ETFs for the biotechs, but I'm going to say at best it's tired. I would love to see the IBB come back to around 135, and I think it will. I think it'll come back to 135 and then probably going to run to about 160. So I've got it on my list here that if all these things do have a little pullback, I'll be more than willing to buy them. But I'm not getting out here on a limb. As we said earlier in the week, in fact, I was talking to one of my subscribers during the break, and, you know, I'm kind of at the point where I'm looking for AAPL, right? I'm looking for more fast plays. We had a really nice one on Apple, double your money in a handful of days, buying the calls. I'm much more interested in that right now than trying to go long and see far through an election. Maybe it'll clear up. Right now, I'm looking for trades for a couple of days. Maybe that's about it. Sell when you can, not when you have to. We will return. Just like tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.